And like the thing is, I don't even hold it against them because it's not like it's going to make a difference anyways. Right? And this is exactly. No, okay, no. Listen. I'm not being. See, and that's the other thing. You are doing the same thing where you're finding a narrative in my wording. You're trying to create a story about it. You're trying to relate it to something you already know, which is that's something that humans do. Right? I'm not saying it's a fault of yours, but I'm just saying that this is the problem, and this is why we need to stop just like narrating everything, right? We don't actually know what's going on. Okay, hearing one trans person tell a story about how they were mistreated doesn't really account for the hundreds of trans people who might have not had that kind of negative experience. Right? What about the millions of straight white males who are depressed and killing themselves because they're all fucked up by society too? It's not like, and see, that's the thing when we fall into a narrative trap, we start to see things differently than they actually are. We start to see, straight white males as being privileged, whereas it's kind of like we're privileged. I'm not saying we're not privileged, but it doesn't mean our lives are perfect. It doesn't mean their lives are perfect, right? So that's a narrative, Rodrigo. That's a narrative. In Africa, listen. In Africa, there's lots of villages that are prosperous and sprawling. Everybody's happy. But then when people in modern society think of Africa, they think of people bloated from starvation and just disease-ridden and just unhappy. They see these ads for these quote unquote non-profit organizations that are getting rich off of people's charity. And they just see all these ads of the less than 1% of the African population who are diseased and starving, and then they're ignoring the Canadian and American populations that are diseased and starving, right? Because there's more of a narrative. There's more of a narrative associated with donating money to Africa because people want to believe that life in North America is perfect, right? No, I'm just saying that it's all a fallacy. Everything you know is just fucking fake. It's a narrative. My solution is to just live your own life and not care about anyone else, except the people around you in your immediate vicinity. It does you fucking good. Okay, it gets you through your life, and then it just brings you closer to the end of humanity, which is coming. Right? I mean, that's unfortunate, right? But how are we going to change that? How are we going to change that? Like really? I mean, yeah, but individuals, not generalizations. You can't fall into narrative traps. You can't assume the world is a certain way based on a few individual situations, right? And that's the thing. See, voting is literally falling into a narrative trap. You are just assuming that you're making a difference, even though you are literally not. You're not though. You're affecting the narrative. To inspire other people to fall into a narrative trap and perpetuate the lies. Right? Do you see how I see things differently? And I'm not saying you're wrong for seeing things your way, but I'm just saying that this is all just a narrative trap. Right? This whole condemning political apathy is a narrative trap. It is though. So neither does what you're suggesting. I'm just saying both ways are equally apathetic, except one way you're all stressed and concerned, the other way you're chill and not concerned, except for when you're trying to argue with people who are falling into narrative traps. Yeah, but I mean, whenever I'm not in a position of privilege, I fucking like start throwing shit, right? Like for example, when I got fired from my job, I sent a really long, angry email to HR, basically just indicating that from my perspective, I got fired because I tried to raise concerns about workplace harassment, which is illegal, right? And I'm still waiting on their response, but yeah, see, that's the thing. Maybe this is because I'm privileged that I feel comfortable doing this, but I recognize that in these other companies, these other security companies I used to work for, they hire like 99% brown people, right? Most of which are not even eligible to work in Canada. Like they have like fake student visas or something just to work, right? And they all know it. And so what's happening is the companies are taking advantage of them, and they're not saying anything because they're afraid of losing their jobs. So you know what? Whenever like a white guy comes along, right? The instant he gets the slightest bit mistreated, he starts throwing his power around, right? And all of a sudden he's a liability because he's not to get my pay in lieu of notice. And